Alright guys, so this is video 2 here. Again, I'm going to go through a couple of examples here for y'all. Full worked out unit review is going to be on the classroom. Please look for it. So here, again, we're dealing with trig values, and this is in secant, right? So we're looking for secant, and we know that secant is equal to h over a. Okay, so if I look at this problem here, guys, okay, here, this is the x, this is the y, the a, the o, okay, nothing new here. So they're telling me I move in the x direction, -3, so I know that my a is -3. My y moved up, so my o is equal to 4, okay? And here my h is equal to some number, and I don't know what it is just yet. Okay, so I am going to need it because if I'm looking for secant, I need the h value. So we can find it using the Pythagorean theorem, like this. Oops. Okay, where my a is -3 squared, o is 4 squared, and h is also squared. Okay, so -3 squared is 9, plus 16 equals h squared. 9 plus 16 is 25. Okay, and so h is going to be the square root of 25, which this is a perfect square, and I know that h will equal 5. So I know that h is equal to 5. Okay, so last thing here, guys, h is, we just found it, is equal to 5. A is equal to -3, so that's my answer right there. Okay, moving on here, next problem. Okay, so here they're asking us to find tangent and sine. Okay, so in the end, that's what I want. Okay, this one that's a little bit more difficult. So here, let's go ahead and break down this information they gave us. Cosecant is less than 0. So this is telling me that I'm dealing with a negative cosecant. Okay, so what I did over here in the unit circle, I went ahead and wrote, these are the areas right here where my trig is positive. Okay, so here, if I see on the list sine and cosecant, I know that it's positive here. That's not what I'm looking for in this problem, remember. Here I'm looking for the cosecant to be less than 0, so it has to be negative. So I know that I cannot be in this quadrant. Okay, if I look over here, the cosecant is also in this list, so it's positive up here in quadrant 1, so it cannot be in that quadrant either. So we eliminated 2 quadrants. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and break down this piece of information. So my secant, they told me, is equal to 3, which we can go ahead and write as 3 over 1. Okay, and we know secant is h over a. Sorry. So I know my h is equal to 3 and my a is equal to 1. Okay, and so since I know the a, the x value has to be 1, positive 1, that tells me that I have to move in this direction. Okay, now since I already crossed out this piece of info, I know that my triangle has to move down. So this right here is my theta. My O, I don't know what it is yet, but I do know that it's going to be negative because this moved down, and my H is equal to 3. Okay, so to go on here, okay guys, again, I can use, well, in the end, I want to know tangent, and I want to know sine, and that's the final answer. Those are the 2 things I'm looking for. So tangent is over A. Okay, so I can't solve tangent because I don't know what O is just yet. Okay, and I know sine is over H, and again, I can't solve it because I don't know what O is yet. So we can find it again using Pythagorean theorem. Okay, and so here my A value is 1 squared, O is, I don't know, that's what I'm solving for, and my H is 3 squared. Okay, so 1 plus O squared equals 9, subtract 1, subtract 1, O squared is equal to 8, square root, so O is equal to the square root of 8. And I'm going to go ahead and leave it like that, okay? So, negative square root of 8, because I moved down, okay? So, when I'm solving this, O over A, again, this is the final answer, is negative square root of 8 divided by 1, which is just negative square root of 8, okay? We can write it like that. O over H, so square root of 8, negative, divided by H, which is 3. And again, we can leave this answer like that. So, okay, moving forward. This is going to be one of the big things, guys, and we're going to continue to see it even in the next chapter, so it's in your interest to go ahead and remember it, or learn to know how to do this. So again, here I have the 1 in front, so they can move stuff around. So this is the same as saying 8 cosine 1 over 7 theta, or x, doesn't matter. I wrote this kind of small. Theta minus 5 pi over 6, and then you put the plus 1 at the end. So that's the same thing. So here they're asking for the amplitude, the period, phase shift, and the vertical shift. So let's go ahead and write that stuff down. Amplitude, period, phase shift, vertical shift. Okay. So when I'm looking at this, guys, okay, remember that I can write this in this form: A f of b x plus c plus d. Okay. So remember, this first value here is my a value is 8. Okay, I got it from right here. Here, guys, I'm just talking about the characteristics. I really don't care if it's sine or cosine. The b value is 1 over 7. Now, we can write it two ways, either like this, or when I'm really looking for the phase shift, I'm going to look for, I'm going to have to find the c value again. And the d value is 1. So we'll go ahead and start working through this. So I know my amplitude is 8. Okay, that's from the a value. My period is an equation, 2 pi divided by b. So 2 pi divided by b, which is 1 over 7. And remember, when I'm dividing by a fraction, this turns around. So this becomes 14 pi for the period. Phase shift, guys, I can find this by dividing c and b. So this value, c divided by b. So 5 pi over 6 divided by 1 over 7, which, again, I'm dividing by a fraction, so 5 pi over 6, the first number stays the same, and I flip the next one. So 5 times 7 is 35 pi. 6 times 1 is 6. So my phase shift's 35 pi over 6, and since I have a minus sign, that moved to the right. Okay, so I can go ahead and fix this in here. Okay, and last thing, vertical shift is plus 1, so I moved 1 up. Okay, so moving forward, pretty much the same type of problem, only here now I am graphing. So start by finding amplitude, period, phase shift, vertical shift. Okay, and so on this problem here, guys, I can see my amplitude here is 2. That's my a value. My b value is 3, so my period would be 2 pi over 3. So, continuing here, guys, my phase shift is c divided by b. So it would be 3 pi over 4 divided by 3. Again, since I'm dividing with a fraction, this turns like that. So pi over 4. And since this is a minus sign, I move to the right. excuse me. And the last thing here is I move this 2 down, because I have this d value here, -2. So, to finish off this problem, guys, okay, if I'm going to graph this, start with the vertical shift. So, this moved 2 down. The center line's 2 down. Okay. My amplitude is 2, so from here I want to move 2 up. And 2 down. Okay. Oops. Period is 2 pi over 3, so this is actually not too clear here. So 2 pi over 3, guys, would be pi over 4, about right here in the middle. I know that's not so great here, but it would be right here. Okay, and remember, I still have to apply the phase shift, so pi over 4 to the right. So you see one of these little blocks is pi over 4, so I'm going to move it 1 block this way, 1 block this way. Okay, so this right here is my boundaries for my graph. Okay, and since I'm dealing with the cosine graph, we start at the very top. It ends at the very top. So this is the way my graph looks right here. Okay. So again, this is the second video, guys. Look for the next one.